Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a Friday edition of the Rome Show, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Facebook. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. We got you for the next 25 or 30 minutes. We are talking Masters Day 1. The NFL being sued by the Department of Justice, and a major injury in the National Basketball Association. Before we get into any of it, you know the drill. You're heading to youtube.com/the Romanellas. In the top right corner of the show, you can actually pull out your cell phone, scan the QR code, and it'll take you right to youtube.com/the Romanellas. You can hit that subscribe button. So scan the QR code and hit subscribe. The Rome Show 1, Twitter, X, and Instagram. The Rome Show, then the number 1, Facebook.com/the Rome Show. So many ways to follow. Just make sure you do and support the show any way you can. Yesterday, round 1 of the Masters was completed in Augusta, Georgia, and the defending champion, Rory McIlroy, has himself a -5 scorecard and a tie of the lead at the Masters. Here is your leaderboard through one day. As you can see at the top, you have Sam Burns and Rory McIlroy leading the charge. Next to their current score, you'll see their tee times for today under the through column. I believe the earliest tee time is 7:40 a.m. And of the nearly 150 participants, it is looking like about half. So where the cut line might end up, half or more are +2 or higher, or +2 or lower. Obviously, the most difficult golf tournament in the world. Makes sense. You're not going to see an insane amount of low scores. McIlroy and Burns lead the way at -2. Then you have Kurt Kitayama, Jason Day, and Patrick Reed at -3. Shane Lowry, Xander Schauffele, Justin Rose, and Scotty Scheffler at -2. And then a plethora of players at -1, including Tommy Fleetwood and Gary Woodland. When you get to the even pars, some of the names that you'll be recognizing: Brooks Koepka, even par, Hideki Matsuyama, even par, Jordan Spieth, even par. The three choices for, and Dustin Johnson +1, Justin Thomas, even par. The three picks from Andrew, still not out of the game here. Okay. Matt Fitzpatrick +2, Colin Morikawa +2, and Ludwig Aberg +2. Bryson DeChambeau, a hot name heading into this tournament, a hot name all the time. The world's number 24 golfer, lives face of golf, I would argue, right now, sitting at a +4. What a difficult golf course. And that's the hard part about the Masters and trying to figure out how the tournament's going to swing. Because when you look at some of the scorecards of some of these players, you can't even believe how many bogeys they have comparative to what they normally play. You can't believe how many double bogeys you see comparative to what you normally play. And the funny thing is, you never have an idea truly of how these guys are playing, good, bad, or indifferent, when you're watching day 1 and day 2, because there's so much golf going on. Obviously, when they flip to Rory or they flip to Max Homa or they flip to Dustin Johnson or they flip to Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, whatever, the first thing you look at is their score in the corner, okay? But it's Augusta. And one hole can change everything. Just like one hole looks like it's about to end your entire round, doesn't have to be that way. For example, Rory McIlroy off the tee to start yesterday in the woods. Shot a -5. Okay? Such a difficult golf tournament. You have to be locked until the last possible swings, last possible putts on hole 18. There were a lot of double bogeys yesterday on hole 18. You're talking about the back half of the back half. Okay? The last 9 at Augusta, 11, 12, 13, Amon's Corner, all the way through 18. That is going to be the difference maker in this tournament, okay? I don't know. Never played it, only watched, only read, only seen documentaries. But that back 9 at Augusta, or excuse me, the last 9 at Augusta can change everything, okay? Can change everything. It's truly a tournament where every single shot you take matters, because you could be looking at a -2 day and all of a sudden you're +1 because of one decision midway through the last 9 and you can't get out of your own way. So day 2, moving day, as people will call it, avoid cut day, which looks like it could be at +2, +3. We'll see what happens as the 740 tee times get going here and those scores start to formulate. But it's going to be a fun back end of the Masters, because when you look at the leaderboard after day 1, you have roughly 15 players, if not more, within -1 and the leader. If you're looking for where to watch the Masters today, yesterday we were watching the Masters on CBS and Paramount. Today you will be on CBS, Paramount, ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Prime Video. So any of those options for your Masters viewing pleasure. I'm not doubling down on anything, but I'm also not getting off of the horse either. I believe in Matty Fitzpatrick. I believe in Colin Morikawa. I believe in Ludwig Aberg. I think we can make a push here, get within 3 or 4 strokes of the leader, heading into round 3 on Saturday, and then we make our move on Sunday to go win a tournament. You need to make the move to scan the QR code in the top right corner of this show. That's the QR code for youtube.com/the Romanellas. Our goal is by the time the fall version of the Rome show starts, so by the time we get to football season, we are trying to get to triple digits in our followers on YouTube. We want to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube by the start of football season, Labor Day 2026. So if you could help us out with that, that would be awesome. That QR code is going to sit on the show every day. Just take a second, scan the QR code, head to youtube.com/the Romanellas and hit subscribe. We appreciate the support. The Rome Show 1, Twitter, X, and Instagram as well. You can follow us there. You can follow the probe on the National Football League from any major media outlet right now, but we want to give you the Rome Show vision of what this probe currently looks like when it's coming to the National Football League television rights. Okay, so let's give you a little backstory on what is going on. So, Senator, and I want to get his name right, Mike Lee from Utah. Okay, Senator Lee has been leading the charge in a lawsuit against the National Football League because Lee and others believe that the NFL is violating the anti-competitive practices when it comes to their television deals. Okay, so currently The NFL has television contracts with ESPN and ABC, NBC Sports, CBS Sports, Prime Video, and Netflix to air all of those games. Furthermore, subscription is required, is required to watch Monday Night Football. That would be on ESPN and ABC. Thursday Night Football and Black Friday Football, which would be on Prime Video. Christmas Day and Christmas Eve or whatever day games, which would be on Netflix. And then some international games on the NFL Network. That doesn't even include the postseason. And that hasn't even begun to include the cost with which it is to buy YouTube TV to have the NFL Sunday package to be able to watch every game and the Red Zone channel. The NFL not agreeing whatsoever with the United States Department of Justice had this to say in response to the lawsuit that dropped yesterday. The NFL's media distribution model is the most fan-friendly and broadcaster-friendly in the entire sports and entertainment industry. The NFL said in a statement, with over 87% of our games on free broadcast television, including 100% of games in the markets of the competing teams, the NFL has for decades put our fans front and center in how we distribute our content. The 2025 season was our most viewed since 1989 and reflects the strength of the NFL distribution model and its wide availability to all fans. I could not disagree more, National Football League. I couldn't disagree more. 100% of your games are still in totally free markets. Yeah, for the area. But I still have to pay for cable. I still have to pay for these services. So the point of the lawsuit, which also states that the average National Football League fan spent $765 on television packages last year alone to watch the National Football League. Okay? $765 to watch the National Football League. You're not fan-friendly, NFL. You're not. You're fan-friendly by the nature of we can watch a lot of football if we have all of the streaming services. But we can't. Right now, every National Football League fan can gear up for Sundays and say, okay, if I have CBS or I have Fox, I can watch the local teams in my area. That's it. That's it. So now I got to go pay for Sunday ticket if I want everything else. I have to go pay for Amazon. I got to pay for this. I got to pay for that. And by the way, the days of the cable box are long, not fully gone, but they're close to long gone. So you know that. You're not an idiot. And the whole point of this lawsuit, according to the DOJ, is simply just to change the rules based on what the current landscape is. It's not necessarily that the NFL is going to have to change their entire media rights package. However, there's clearly things that do not fit the bill comparative to why the rules were created in the first place. Here's what the DOJ had to say about this lawsuit. The modern distribution environment differs substantially from the conditions that precipitated this exemption. What does that mean? Well, the exemption that they're talking about was the Sports Broadcast Act of 1961, which only applies to broadcast television. We are talking about streaming television, and that's where the Department of Justice is coming in. Instead of a small number of free broadcast networks, the NFL now licenses games simultaneously to subscription streaming platforms, premium cable networks, and technology companies operating under different business models. To the extent collectively licensed game packages are placed behind subscription paywalls, these arrangements may no longer align with the statutory concept of sponsored telecasting or the consumer access rationale underlying the antitrust exemption. What does all those crazy jargons mean? If I pay one fee, I should be able to watch football games. I should have to pay 5 fees to watch football games. That's why, as chair of the subcommittee on antitrust, competition policy, and consumer rights, I urge the DOJ to examine the Sports Broadcasting Act and its applicability to the current landscape model. I'm glad they're tackling this. Some of it is less about the NFL as much as it's about the future landscape of broadcasting sports events and how it's going to affect the fan and affect the fans' wallet. The Sports Broadcasting Act includes a rule allowing blackouts of local games, which still applies to out-of-market packages sold by the league. The NFL ended local TV blackouts, which applied to games within 75 miles of teams' market if they did not sell out 72 hours before kickoff. That ended in 2014. This is something that has been going on for a few years now because the NFL violated antitrust laws in 2024 when they were distributing out-of-market Sunday afternoon games and were to award $4.7 billion in damages to people that have paid for those subscriptions. So this has been something that has been matriculating over the last few years, and rightfully so, because we cannot have the same rules on media distribution with cable providing television when we are no longer providing, there's no longer cable television, okay? No longer is a relative term, but that's not how this works anymore. This whole thing is set up around the old school. I pay $100 a month for Optimum. I can now get X, Y, and Z. If I want to pay for satellite, with that satellite comes the NFL Sunday ticket. And therefore, then I can watch every single game that I want under one subscription fee. That's it. Instead, now, I could buy the NFL Sunday ticket, which should technically give me every game, but it doesn't because Netflix has this game and Prime has this game and CBS has this game and the rights for this game are over here. Hence why it costs nearly every NFL fan, if they wanted to watch every game, every single game, especially those holiday games, because that's almost easier to want to watch than the 15th game on a Sunday, right? Especially if you've already paid for that package. Nonetheless, $765 average dollars for the National Football League fan last year. That's a joke. And I understand why this is a thing. What needs to be a thing for you this summer is playing golf in Fig Tree Golf apparel, ladies and gentlemen. FigTreeGolf.com is trying to get you right for the 2026 golf season. You want to reaffirm your faith and you want to reaffirm your love for the game of golf, well, then I need you to head to FigTreeGolf.com. Check out some of their apparel. It's sick, okay? Sick. They got some fire hats. They got some fire polos, and there's also a lot of other gear on the store as well. Just remember, when you head to FigTreeGolf.com and you head to checkout, use promo code Andrew Romanella, and you'll get 15% off of that checkout, okay? So FigTreeGolf.com. Promo code Andrew Romanella for 15% off at checkout, and you will get yourself right for the 2026 golf season. FigTreeGolf.com. Promo code Andrew Romanella. We're back after this commercial break.
What is one thing every great leader has in common? They challenge their people to not stop at the first right answer. Tighten the Lug Nuts is a leadership book that will teach you how to move past the first right answer with entertaining and detailed examples founded in real-world concepts and experiences. Accelerate towards your professional goals with Tighten the Lug Nuts, one of the best leadership books available.
Yeah. Welcome back into the Rome Show. Broadcasting live. YouTube.com/the Romanellas. It's in the top of your screen. Pull out your phone, scan the QR code, head to youtube.com/the Romanellas, and hit that subscribe button. Trying to get 100 followers by Labor Day. Let the summer be the summer of the Rome Show and the Romanellas on YouTube. Subscribe. The Rome Show 1, Twitter, X, Instagram. That's the Rome Show. Then the number 1, Facebook.com/the Rome Show. 743, state of New Jersey. We're having a blast here. It's April 10th. It's a Friday. And I hope the people are excited for the weekend. My whole goal is to get you right for this weekend, including a little bit of what you're watching, which we'll give you here in a second. Just one big story out of the National Basketball Association with the Philadelphia 76ers pushing hard for the 7, 6, 7, or 8 seed in the National Basketball Association with 2 games remaining. Joel Embiid, unfortunately, went in yesterday to the hospital, have his appendix removed, because sadly, he has been diagnosed with appendicitis, and he will be out for 2 to 4 weeks after getting his appendix removed. The Philadelphia 76ers, they currently sit at 43 and 37 in the 8 seed of the play-in tournament. They were 2 games out of the 6 seed, which is non-play-in tournament status. That is where the Atlanta Hawks reside. The Magic, the 7 seed, right in between both. A game separates them all. Tough hit for the 76ers, who, led by arguably one of the best point guards in the league, and Tyrese Maxey, cannot afford to lose anyone, let alone the man Joel Embiid. And it's just unfortunate, man. It is just unfortunate because, one, this is not necessarily something that puts you on the IL and you're like, man, I needed to treat my body better, or I needed to do this, or I needed to do that. No. Okay. This is a natural life cause, sometimes out of your control, but it is the underlining story of Joel Embiid's career, which has been just an injury-riddled career. That's just the truth. If you remember correctly, when Embiid was drafted, that's when the whole trust the process thing came into fruition. It was like, let us cook here. We drafted Markelle Fultz. That didn't work out. We drafted Joel Embiid. That kind of worked out. Let's let this thing matriculate here. And 8, 9, 10 years down the line, it hasn't matriculated into shit. And all you have, if you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan, is a consistently injured and out Joel Embiid. And you're amped because without Tyrese Maxey right now, this is not a play-in or playoff contending team. But they are someone that you are afraid to play in the postseason, especially when you have Maxey and Embiid healthy. But without Embiid, even though it was a slightly down year for him and it has been injury-riddled from the jump, he is a presence and a problem that you have to think about and deal with, and then you get to Tyrese Maxey. Okay? So if you're the 76ers, if you're a 76ers fan, or if you're somebody that was looking to put down some bananas on the 76ers, I would argue not the time anymore. Maybe Maxey can put him on the back to win the play-in game and get into the postseason as a 7 or 8 seed. But I think right now the ship has sailed for anything exciting to happen in the National Basketball Association with the 76ers. We mentioned it yesterday. We're not really going to go through it today. Not much movement in terms of the standings. Okay. A lot, though, can happen in the next 2 days. So what are we watching this weekend? Well, let's give it to you before we get out of here. Starting with what you're watching. I mean, this one's got to be pretty easy, right? It's round 3 and round 4 of the Masters. Okay, tonight is round 2. We'll watch it all day. We'll see who gets cut, who doesn't get cut. But round 3, where we really get the movement and we really get a clear picture of what is going on this weekend, we are going with Masters round 3 and Sunday round 4 as our number one.
What you watching?
This weekend. With the National Basketball Association coming to a close, there are going to be a few games that matter. One of them is the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Atlanta Hawks, and that game takes place tonight, 7 p.m. on Prime Video. The Hawks are looking to secure the last 6th playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. The Cavaliers, they are looking to secure a final spot in the Eastern Conference as well. They're looking to secure the 4 seed. Now, if the Cavs win here, they give themselves a chance for the 3 seed and put the Knicks in the 4 seed. If the Hawks win here, they give themselves a chance for the 5 seed, as much as losing gives them the 6 seed, or even could take them out of the playoffs. This game is gigantic, okay? The 3 seed, the 4 seed, the 5 seed, the 6 seed, and the 7 seed can all be affected by this single contest tomorrow night. Another game to look at as a
What you watching?
in tonight's basketball slate would be then the Knicks playing the Raptors, okay? Because the Raptors are the 5 seed right now, and the Knicks are the 3 seed. So those 2 games alone, Cavs versus Hawks and Knicks versus Raptors, should be a gigantic determinant factor in what goes on in the NBA playoffs. Give me that as
What you watching?
Oh, yeah. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the NHL slate, okay? Just in general, because much like we're talking about right now in the NBA, everything should come into fruition in the National Hockey League tomorrow and Sunday. So it's going to be exciting. The games are going to be wild. And generally, the last weekend of the NHL season actually feels just as important, as intense, if not more intense, than actually the first round of the playoffs. So give me those 2 NBA games. Give me the Masters round 3 and 4, and any hockey game with playoff implications this weekend is going to be electric. That is
What you
no,
watching?
it's not hump day. It is
What you watching?
this weekend on the Rome Show. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. I found this statistic for you to leave with. Anthony Davis has been out since January 8th, damage in his hand. How about this one? The dude from the Senators undergoes a broken arm surgery on March 23rd, and 17 days later is playing. That is the difference between the toughness in the National Hockey League and the toughness in the National Basketball Association. Hockey players are just built different. Have a great weekend. I hope it's an electric one. We'll see you back here on Monday. Enjoy the golf. Andrew Romanella. Peace.
Thank you for listening.